Hello, everybody. Welcome to the very first installment of The Bench Seat. The Bench Seat Pod, as they may say. Or just The Bench Seat Show. We have a wonderful symphonic, I'm not sure what this TV is called, but I think I had that TV.
Yeah, back in the day. Kevin is, he's on the bench seat in the stands, and I'm on the bench seat right next to the court. So, you know, it's a fitting name for us.
But you get in the game, and I, growing up, didn't get in the game much. I spent most of my time on the bench.
Well, here we are.
Here we are. Welcome to the Bench Sheet. This is George Niang, for those of you that don't know. The Cleveland Cavaliers, number 31. No, not
number
anymore.
20.
You're number 20 now. Well, number 31 is like what you normally are, I'd say. But number one in our hearts, everybody. Welcome, George Niang. I'm Kevin Spies. I'm really excited about this project. We've been working on this for a very long time, it feels like.
Yeah, almost too long.
Almost too long. It's taken on a new life. We are now in like the coolest studio, I think, in Ohio, as I said, maybe even in the country or the Midwest.
Yeah. And people don't know, like, this stuff is like a journey because we've actually gone to some other places where we've, you know, if you could see around here, it's like two high definition, you know, cameras, lights. And we actually went to a spot where we were like, oh, this is like a good deal. They're giving us a sweet deal. And a guy walks in with two iPhones and sets them up with like a ring light. And I thought I was like an Instagram model for about 10 seconds. And we looked at each other and we're like, are we going to do this still? Yeah. And he's like, no, this will just be like a fake like run through. So here we are. We've had a journey. I think it's
By the way, no shade to that guy. He's running a business,
No,
but
I
it
mean,
just
it wasn't for us.
wasn't for us.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to disrespect, but you know what I mean. We were just looking for something different.
Yeah.
We went into the supermarket looking for apples. He was trying to sell oranges.
He was trying to sell. I feel like he was trying to sell like the $2 like skirt steak. That was like
okay. Now you're being disrespectful.
Okay, I am being disrespectful. Anyway, it's been fun working on this. I'm so excited to finally release it, to show the world the bench seat. You want to get into a little bit of the inspiration behind the name Bench Seat? I can, or if you'd like to. I mean, everyone knows your former nickname is the Minivan.
Yeah.
Which it's now been upgraded to the G-Wagon,
Yeah.
but. Minivans are notorious for having a bench seat in the back, which is like kind of inspired a little bit. Not only that, but also sitting on the bench. Yeah. Did your family have a minivan growing up?
For a little bit we did. And, once you realize that, the loser cruiser is kind of out of style, you know, my family is real hip. And, we upgraded to, I think like a little like a bigger like Mitsubishi SUV, but I did have a minivan, you know, growing up. Actually, my best friend who I grew up with, I remember vividly riding in a Honda Odyssey all the time.
Oh,
that
dude.
thing went kaput. But
Up my alley. My mom had like a 93 Dodge. I don't remember what the Caravan, I think they were called. It was like maroon. Just now, I would
have
like
the wood panels on it.
Oh yeah, the wood panels and only one side of the van opened. Like you couldn't get in from the other side. Remember that? What a weird way. Like, why not just have two doors? And I remember when the first minivan came out that had two doors. I was like, this minivan has two sliding doors. Yeah, it does. Fuck. Okay, enough of the minivan. George, the people are curious. Cleveland is one of the hottest teams in the league, especially coming into the All-Star break. You dropped the first two, coming out of the All-Star break. Yeah. But obviously Donovan Mitchell was dealing with some injuries. You got him back last night. Beat some would say struggling Washington team.
I mean, I feel like you don't have to hide saying struggling. I mean, we beat the Wizards. Yeah. Yes. I mean, I think at this point, you know, you dropped two in a row. You're kind of trying to just get a win any way you can. We lost to Orlando at home, then we lost to Philadelphia the next night, and we got a chance to play with the Wizards, which you never want to apologize. I mean, they're having a rough year.
Yeah.
They had some guys injured, so you want to take full advantage of that. And it wasn't pretty, but we got the win.
Hey, it's an NBA team. At the end of the day, it's an NBA team. And you mentioned playing Philly the other night. I want to talk a little bit about that. You've been back in Philly. This isn't your first time back.
Yeah, it's my second time.
But going back to Philly, like, what's that like? Do the fans, are they still, like, accepted? You were kind of a fan favorite, I feel like.
Yeah, no, I still get a lot of love from the fans out there. Philadelphia was awesome to me. So I can't, I can't ever
knock them.
Yeah, I can't ever knock them. The fans were great, and I heard a couple. Let's go Birds.
Let's go Birds, dude. Yeah, what's going on, George? Bang, bang, George Niang, dude.
This dude's a warrior, dude. This is a warrior, John. Check out this John Bull.
I don't know if you're using the lingo correctly.
Yeah,
Did you go to your favorite place, Cafe La Mode?
No. So in the NBA, when you get in on a back-to-back, you don't have much time to do that. I was thinking about getting over there.
Yeah.
But it was tough. I wanted to be dialed in on the game.
Can't be eating French toast, Fruit Loops French toast before.
Well, I'd never said that, but
okay, yeah. The other question I want to ask you is like, okay, so I think about like work. You go to the same place at work every day for 3 years. You become friends with people that work there. Do you have like a staff member that's like, I think of like Michael Jordan and that one guy with the blonde hair. Like,
it's like a huge meme.
Yeah, he's like gambling with them.
Yeah. They're like flipping quarters and stuff like that.
Guy probably makes like $20,000 a year, and Jordan's just gambling. Like,
man, that was his buddy.
Yeah,
I think what I think though, that like kind of humanizes the whole scenario that you're in, because like people don't understand, as a professional athlete, like you just have so many moving pieces where people are afraid to talk to you because they've been told by their boss, like, hey, don't talk to them, And this kind of gives like someone like the real, who's the professional athlete, like a real human interaction where it's just like, this is natural. This isn't like, oh, someone's boss told them not to speak to me, so they're going to treat me like I'm royalty because, I'm playing for the team and they work here. Like, so like those are things that I think some athletes, crave. I definitely crave that because like, you're around these people so many times, you want to like get to know them. Like, so there was like a police officer that always used to stand at the locker room just to make sure, because Philly gets crazy. Philly does get crazy.
There's a jail in the link, at the link, dude. There's a jail.
Oh,
in the link,
I didn't even know that.
Anyway, okay, so
I've never been.
Yeah,
thank God. But he gave me, like, I remember I'd always like give him a fist bump before I ran out, and he like one time before the New Year, he was like, hey, if you ever need these, like, I got you. And he like signed his name on the back of them. They were like officer pardons. So like if you got like pulled over, like you could hand over one of them.
Oh, was it a card? It was like a laminated like PBA card.
No, yeah, I mean it was like it was like a bunch of them. But lucky enough in Philadelphia, they're worried about way worse crimes than me just running a stoplight. So
that's true.
I never had to use them, so that was great.
Imagine that's technically like a get out of free jail card.
Get out of jail free?
What did I say? Get out of
free jail? Get a free jail?
No, what I'm saying is you get a free jail. It's like a deal you can get that the cops give you. Okay, so that's cool. That's cool to hear. You played well. I also, let's talk a little bit about your playing since the All-Star break. I just want to give you some numbers. In the last 3 games, I don't know if you know this or not, you're shooting 60% from the three-point line. 60% since the All-Star break.
I had to make up for some.
You are just a model of consistency, averaging 9 points a game, which is about what you've been at all year.
Yeah.
You're 8 for 14 in just field goals in general. First off, how are you so consistent all the time, number one? And two, what's contributing to this little hot streak you're on right now, especially from the three-point line?
Well, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Waffle House, providing us the great meals that, motivate me and fuel me to be the best I can be. No, I mean, obviously, I think over All-Star break was huge. I was able to get home, kind of recharge. Yeah. Probably where my opponents were in Cabo and St. Bart's, so they're behind. While I'm getting ahead. So while I was working, they were tanning. All-Star break is the best because you see people who are like playing in like Toronto or like Minnesota, and they come back looking like they just like got 7 shades darker of what they were. Like our coach, JB Bickerstaff, came back and like was even like super tan, and I'm like, damn, like I didn't know you could, get any darker.
Someone said, I heard who was mic'd up. Someone was mic'd up in the game against the Wolves like a couple nights ago, and he said that he's like, damn, you look darker. He was talking to Rudy Gobert.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I don't know, dude. I mean, I don't know how I can get any darker.
Yeah, Rudy gets a nice tan going on.
So you went home to Boston. Were you putting work in?
Yeah. I think it was just one of those things. We're in a pretty good situation here in Cleveland, so I just wanted to, be responsible, because let me tell you, I could find a way to be real irresponsible at times.
Amen to that, brother. I am a model for irresponsibility, I believe. Although when you have kids, you don't really have a choice because it's like a life. It's
What
like,
do you mean, being responsible?
yeah, you got to be responsible. Like, I feel like my whole life I wasn't responsible. I would be responsible enough to like live. Like, I never missed rent payment. I never like not showed up to work. So I was always responsible, but like, I was also like drinking. I don't know.
How many days a week you think?
Was I drinking?
Yeah.
At my height?
Five.
5, yeah. But I'm not getting drunk. Any of the, I'll drink
I
5
never
days.
understand people that do like the social one.
First
I'm
off,
an all in or all
I'm a
out
big
guy.
I'm a big boy, so there's no such thing as a social one. It's a social like
3.
3, yeah. But there's just a hint of a buzz, and that's how I drink. I'd say 95% of the time. Like when I went to your house for Super Bowl, I had like 3
So
glasses
you're one of
wine.
those dudes like, yeah, I'm just gonna get a quick buzz and then like I'm gonna hang on the couch with George and like we're gonna just watch.
That sounds great to me, dude. Yes, that's a good time to me is on a couch having a little red wine, getting a nice little buzz, and then going to sleep early. That's what I like.
That's funny
nowadays.
because your wife called and you're like, oh, what's up, babe? Just getting a quick buzz here and then I'm gonna head back to the hotel.
No, I think I only had 1 or 2 glasses of wine. And then, but back at the hotel, I had the rest of the bottle of wine. A bottle of wine for me is 4 glasses. Imagine 4 drinks. That's nothing, right?
Mind
This
you,
is
you
an
had
alcohol.
wine with like pizza. It was just like an off setting to have wine. But hey, it was a Super Bowl, so.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine not having, what was I going to have? Beer? You made fun of me for having beer like 2 nights before that, I feel like.
Okay, so let me paint this picture for you. So Kevin comes
Can
to-
I paint it?
No, me first.
All right. Then I'll give you my
Here's my brush. So we are in Brooklyn, like you've probably heard before, and Kevin comes to the game, and we're having like a team function after. So I'm like, oh, for sure, come by.
Which was nice of you.
It's the team. It's me. It's one of my buddies. It's my assistant, Kevin, his buddy, and everybody's ordering like. He's gonna make fun of me because
say what you ordered.
Espresso martinis.
The entire team, the entire roster was drinking espresso martinis. And you had different iterations of espresso martinis. Some of them were vodka, some of them were tequila, some of them had cream.
Bailey's. Don't.
I believe
say
you
cream.
said, "Can I have
Don't,
cream
no,
in mine,
I
sir?"
said Bailey's. Don't. Don't.
Okay, all right.
So anyway, you would think that kind of like sets the setting of like what you should order. And Kevin's like, "Can I get a Stella?"
Okay.
Like, are you serious?
All right.
Like nobody here is drinking beer. Like, get you
True.
some hard alcohol. Get you one. And
Okay,
keep it
so
moving.
here's the dichotomy of where we are in life. You are an NBA player, right? And so you guys went to Tao. Now, for those of you that are in New York City, Tao is like not a place I have ever been, and I lived in New York City for 10 years. Because
Don't do this. You're making it seem like
no,
I was
Tao is
trying
like
to-
nice. I'm not like I go to like
But
Blue
a
Haven.
man of your caliber should have been to Tao plenty of times before. So that's a you
The other
problem.
thing is like I think a lot of people would think of Tao as what we call bridge and tunnel. Do you know what that means?
No.
Bridge and tunnel means like people from New York don't go there. People outside of New York go to New York to go there.
I get
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Either way, I agree. Having a Stella was probably out of place, and I apologize for that. I hope I get an invite back next to another
you
post game.
probably- you won't.
I'm probably out. Okay, you got the Mavs coming up tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then you got Chicago on a back-to-back. Number one, when do you travel? Like how does that even happen? You travel the day of your game?
No, right after the game.
Right after the game, you'll go
Yeah.
tonight?
Yeah.
So what time will you get to the hotel? Like,
Chicago from
Yeah.
Cleveland. Probably gain an hour. Probably get there around like midnight, 1.
okay, that's not so bad.
Yeah, sleep, get you a nap.
Yeah.
Oh, Chicago, also known for the best pancakes in the league.
Really?
At the Peninsula Hotel.
Peninsula. Is that where you guys stay?
I don't know. I'm not going to give out that information.
Okay, yeah. But you don't ever go there because
Yeah,
you
no,
can't.
they'd have a good like little setting there.
Yeah.
Good little silver dollar pancakes, or you can get the big ones.
What are you into, the big ones?
Yeah.
You like the big guys?
Anybody that's eating a small pancake,
As a child.
yeah. What
Yeah.
is wrong with you?
I order my son.
Know what else I hate? People that what they do is when they get their pancakes, load them up with syrup, and then cut them
you
into
gotta-
small. Like you got to cut them as you eat them. Like who has the discipline to do that?
Okay, see, I'll argue. I think a good way to do it is to cut them first so you expose the like inside and then syrup
Ooh,
it.
yeah, that is.
Okay, so what do you got to do against the Mavs coming up? You got obviously two really, really good players in Kyrie and Luka. They're playing good as of late. Like, what's the preparation like for prepping for probably two future Hall of Famers? What do you even just prep for other guys, or like what is that?
Yeah,
like?
You're probably just gonna try and not let any other people
Get off.
Yeah, those two
are gonna get.
They have seen everything.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real. Kyrie Irving was a staple in winning a championship in Cleveland, and Luka has definitely left his mark with the time he's been in the league. So I would say that you should probably plan accordingly to stop the people around them rather than being able to stop them. I mean, you could try to make things difficult,
but it's like you're not going to – certain players – there's probably certain players in the league where it's like no matter what you throw at them, they're going to get theirs. And it's like you hope they have a bad game, right? Yeah. But it's like it's going to be up on them more than it is what you guys are doing defensively.
No, absolutely.
Okay, let's move on to other areas of the league. I'd like to bring up a little bit of what Draymond said about his Warriors. Draymond said that he thinks, without question, right now they are a team that can contend for a championship. They're playing good as of late, 10th in the West. They've won 8 of their last 10, though.
Yeah.
And they're getting Chris Paul back. What do you think about the Warriors? You've played them this year once,
Yeah, we played them twice already.
Okay.
Yeah, we beat them both times.
A small little brag. What do you think about that? I mean, that's obviously a dynasty that you've been playing.
I bet you this. I bet you no first place team wants to see the Warriors in the first round.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the championship DNA. They have all the little things that, people are trying to avoid in first round matchups, and anything can happen. It's a 7-game series and you have one of the best players in the league right now and the best shooter of all time in Steph Curry. Like, it could really get ugly for you. And I mean, I think they're a contender anytime they make the playoffs. Unless they're not in the playoffs, I wouldn't be like sold that
they couldn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, because they did it that year when they were down however many games to Boston, beat them. People were like, oh, they don't have enough to do it. They did it with Clay, Draymond, Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, Wiggins.
And Poole didn't play particularly well those playoffs, if I remember.
No, I think he did because then he got paid after that.
And you say Boston. Speaking of Boston, Boston is like, I mean, I watched the game against the Knicks the other day. They seem like they may be the best team in the league. At least definitely the best starting 5.
I mean, you know what? I'm going to give you the God's honest truth right now. Being the best team in the regular season really doesn't mean anything. Okay. And they've been playing well, and they've consistently shown that they are like one of the better teams in the league. But, when I was in Utah, we were the number 1 team in the league and lost in the second round. You just want to make sure you're healthy and you're grooving at the right time, which I'll bring it back to us, where we were clicking before the All-Star break, had a break. Now we're kind of trying to find our rhythm again.
Yeah.
But back to Draymond, he's probably right. They are definitely a contender, but I don't think people are fearing them as much as they did last year.
It's hard to think of a team that can have as many people that could like give you buckets than like a Boston right now. It seems like their entire starting 5, if they scored 30, you wouldn't like Derek White scored 30 and it's just like, yeah, Derek White can go off for 30. Yeah. Porzingis was like the centerpiece and he's probably the 4th best player on his team, or at least the 4th option now, and he's been like a centerpiece before.
Yeah.
Obviously no team scares you, but is there a team that you kind of don't want to see in the East?
I mean, at this point, I think I don't think it really has come to that. Yeah. I mean, I think it's more or less, you obviously want to match up real well with like your first team, and then from there on out, to be the best, you got to beat the best. So at that point, bring on anybody, because it's not like it gets any easier after that.
It's just a grind, yeah.
You're asking me like I'm a world champion. I've only been
you are Georges Niang.
Second round.
You are the most winningest basketball player in the 2020s. You do know that.
That is the most hilarious stat that has ever come out, and I'll take it.
Yeah.
But the funny part is I've played alongside some really good players, and the funny part is no matter if I can hardly walk or I'm feeling sick, I try to get out there and play. So if I play 2 minutes or 22 minutes,
That's a win.
It counts as a win. That's all we care about.
Well, I think like
If you want to win, you don't even have to put Georgie in.
you're a poet. You didn't even know it. Bars. I think there's something to be said, and it was cool actually hearing you and Tobias talk. He kind of gave you your props. It was like, man, there are not a lot of people in the NBA that can consistently score 10 points a game. Like people think that, oh yeah, well if LeBron James can score 20, he can also score 10 points a game, and it's like. Those are two totally different roles, and it's like hard to play. You don't want to say like role player has like a bad connotation to it, but it's like you have a certain role on the team that not a lot of people could like come in, not be dominating the ball all game, get it like 7 times, get 4 shots out of it, and get 10 points out of that.
Well, because it's not like sexy. That's the problem. Is people are so used to stuff being like, oh, look at this move. Look, like that's what gets like clicks and hits. So nobody, unless you're like an artist of the game, like you can appreciate like the small things. It's almost like, think of art. Like if I looked at something where someone just took paint and like splashed it around, I'm like, oh, cool, that's just splashing it around. Whereas someone who's like really into art and is like, no, like look at the angles, yes, and like mosaic. I don't even know if that's right, but
that's a good word.
Yeah, exactly. So where they're like, look at the real beauty of it. Where like. There's very few people like that in the world. Just like there's very few compared to all the people in the world. There's very few people that can understand like the simplicity, the glue guys, like what they do, and to bring it all together. Where what I do is valuable, which I'm happy that the front office people that I've encountered value that. But at the same time, like if anybody at home that thinks I suck. I will gladly play you one-on-one and show you that I don't suck.
I mean, the funniest thing that people always talk about is the Scalabrine stuff, where he absolutely goes.
Dude, he was torturing them,
and those weren't scrubs; those were Division I basketball players, and he was.
That's what I mean. Like
them.
how you want it: back down, pump fake layup.
Yeah, like people don't get it, and also like.
And you are the same people that are writing on your Twitter and Instagram, and I fall victim to this. Every time when someone writes to me and they're like, you stink, you should do this. And I'm like, what do you want from me? Like, what do you want from me? Because if this was you, there is no chance you could do any of this.
And people genuinely think they can. Now, it's different for me because I did score 34 points in a men's league basketball game, and it was running clock. So that's basically like at least 70 because it was running clock.
Close the yearbook, seriously.
Dude, I'm just telling you, I'm still playing really, really good basketball. So it's different for me. I can critique basketball players because I play very high-level men's league basketball. But I could see it getting frustrating, all these like people who, number one, probably really do think they could beat you one-on-one.
But imagine if someone came, like you had a long day at work, like your son was crying, you know what I mean, before you left for your men's league game, and you literally just have someone in the stands just like telling you like you're a piece of shit, like you suck. And then, oh yeah, by the way, because like maybe you wouldn't check Twitter, but like he has your phone number and is just texting you like, way to go, you slob.
Yeah,
like,
because they have access to you now.
And
right?
like people, like it's funny, like sure you laugh it off after a while, and at some point you're just like, bro, give it a break. Like, is your life that miserable that you have to just?
Oh yeah, I mean, dude, I will tell you right now, I
still love the fans.
I probably get pissed off at like, first off, I read every single comment on my posts. I read, that's not true. Like the day that I post it, I'll read every comment that comes in that day. If it's like blowing up a couple days later, I don't really follow it because it's like I've usually posted something else that I'm following. But I read probably 90% of the hate comments I get, and every single one bothers me. Every single one.
He's lying to you. He goes into his garage and he's like,
I put on
Jumpin' Jack.
No, I put on B Rabbit. I put on the 8 Mile soundtrack, and I like put a hoodie on, and I start rapping into my phone and just try to get hyped up. No, but it is, dude. I'm sorry. When you get enough comments about it, and it's also like depends on your day. So like if you have a good day, just like in general outside of basketball, your day's good, and then you go out and like maybe you miss a couple shots and someone says you suck, you jackass, you're probably like whatever. But if you're like, you know, stressed out or whatever, like that's what happens to me at least. I'm like in a bad mood and I see a comment that's like you have weird teeth. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll fucking, you know. Like
yo, chill, dude. Chill. It's not serious.
Okay, you're right. I swear to God, I'm
no,
just
but
kidding.
I feel like I try to give like when I'm watching other sports and I like get like reactive and like I try and like baseball for instance. Like I try because I know nothing about baseball. Like I can't imagine like how hard it is to throw like a two seam or a slider or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So like when someone strikes out, like, and I want to get on my phone and be like, oh, this dude, like, no, this dude sucks. Like he can't even hit the curveball. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that because when people do that to me, it's like, it's annoying.
Also, like, no one's saying you can't hate stuff. Like you could feel like that guy sucks. You could feel that, but like, that's totally different than actually going out of your way to like trying to tell that person that they suck. Anyway, that's I think the big difference.
We're spending too much time
on let's move on. I hear you. I forget what the initial thing we were talking about is. What were we talking about? We were talking about
Draymond.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. The NCAA is starting to heat up now. Football season's over. You got March Madness coming up soon in March. There was a big instance I want to get your take on. A Duke player, Kyle Filipowski, rolled his ankle with a court storm. So for those of you who don't know, number 8 Duke went down. They lost at Wake Forest, which is a big, in-conference rival, I guess you could call it. And the Wake Forest fans stormed the court, and he rolled his ankle. First off, do you have a take on that? And second off, then I'd like to know if you have ever been a part of a court storm.
Yeah, I think everybody's been a part of.
I have not. I've not been
a court storming. Yeah, I guess I can understand that. Birthday party, jumpy houses. Is that like the court storming you're talking about?
That's the closest I got. Okay,
no, I mean it's unfortunate that someone gets injured, and you try to avoid that. But like for everybody to be like up in arms about it is, a little much. And I think I've watched the video a couple times. It's not like he was like in a rush to get off the court either. Like I think the game was over. Like there's you were down 4 points. There's really no possible way for you to win. So I would think like there's difference between having like book smarts and street smarts. Like, okay, I see everybody like I've been in an arena where they're getting ready to like court storm. It's like, okay, where am I going to be? So you're just going to tell me all of a sudden I'm thinking about the game. And I get that's an excuse. Yeah. But it's not like you were moving that fast. And when you saw a fan coming, you did have your arms out like you were ready to. It looked like he was ready to deck him, and it's like you got decked, which it's unfortunate. Yeah. I hate it for him, but at the end of the day, it's like, bro, come on, like you're at Duke, you have a target on your back, like let's.
Yeah. What's your take? Because Jon Scheyer got on, the press conference afterwards and was like basically calling for court storming to be eradicated.
It's part of the game. It's what makes people have to understand that these natural occurrences and enthusiasm and excitement are what make sports,
especially college sports,
great. Yes, and the purity of it in college basketball is what's important. The fact that you have that many people, that same age range, that are excited about one thing, and that's their team, and their team wins, and then all of a sudden you want to be like, no, well, excuse me, administration, we're not going to let this happen. It's like being in college and having that RA or whatever you call it come in and bust you for drinking all the time. It's like, dude, when are you going to let us have a little fun? It's unfortunate that the dude got hurt, but you can't take that away from the game. It's part of the purity, and it's part of like what makes it so great.
It's the one time I can think of someone getting hurt. I know there was like the Caitlin Clark thing. She like tweaked something or whatever, but it was like, it's the one time in the 30 years I've been watching college basketball that I can think of someone getting hurt from court storming. And they're some of the best moments in sports when a team goes down and like, now I think like sometimes there's a court storm when it's like the 25th ranked team.
Now don't get it twisted though. If a fan tries to come at a player and a player
defends himself,
decks them, like I don't want to hear, like fans should know better, like stay away. Like, so there's two ways to the street. So if a fan is coming at a player and you get rocked.
Yeah.
That's a personal issue. Like
you're basically saying like treat it fairly both ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Go in there and jump on your own players. I'm not saying don't run on there and try and tackle the other player's team because you might fuck around and find out and mess with the wrong one.
Speaking of fucking around and finding out, we'll get back to the NCAA basketball in a little bit, but I did want to ask you, there's a video circulating, especially in internet circles, of a certain former NFL quarterback getting into a
Cam Newton
scrap.
Wow.
Number one,
no punches thrown, just throwing people around like rag dolls.
I'm pretty sure there were punches thrown.
No, he didn't throw any punches.
Oh, I don't know if he did. Yeah, I'm sure. But I think there were like 17-year-old kids. No, it was like a camp. Yeah. I don't know. I just lost my breath there. Number one, I had a couple follow-up questions. First off, horrible. All jokes aside, that's no,
horrible for who?
For everyone involved, I think. Like, I think that was just, I mean, I don't know how you let
I don't condone fighting it at all.
I don't even know how you would, first off, if those are kids, how do you even let that get to blows, you know? Like, I don't really know the circumstances surrounding it, so I'm not going to try to speculate.
Like, hey, man, my feather in my cap's way better than yours, cuz.
I don't know if he turned into a West Coast, anyway.
No, but Cam, there was on a pod, I said something about you talking smack to my buddy Brock Purdy, but if that's how you're going to react,
take it back.
I apologize in advance. I promise I don't mean anything.
I don't think he threw the first punch, but I mean, he did have to defend himself. You're someone that works camps.
Yeah.
What is the age cutoff where you won't punch a kid back? 13?
You know,
or
I don't wake up and see myself
I'm
thinking,
just saying, if there's a big 13-year-old that charges you. Okay, no, go ahead.
Yeah, you know, I'd move out the way and toss them down. But no, I don't really condone the fighting, but that is comedy. I did think it was funny how he was just tossing them around and they were trying to throw punches. I did think that was funny. I don't know the full context of the story.
Me either.
But it's almost like baseball fighting, like a bunch of people like in a circle and
it's a melee.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hope everyone's all right. I mean, it really is sad, like all jokes aside, it's not cool, especially like he's probably giving his time, you know, like he's probably not getting paid for this. It's like a camp. I don't know the whole story, but it seems sad that it got to that. So shouts to all of them. Hopefully everybody's okay. Me personally, probably 14, I think high school. If there's a bunch of sophomores in high school that try to jump me, I'm two-piecing all of them.
They're like, yeah, you and your big-ass teeth, Mr. Spies.
I will say, as a dean, I was a dean at a high school for a long time, which I don't know if you know what that means in New York City. It basically means I'm the guy with the walkie-talkie, and I have to, like, walk the hallways while kids are cutting class.
We got to watch out for Kevin because he loves youth sports, and he loves to talk about how he's worked in schools before.
I love youth sports. Anyway, yeah, there are some times where these kids pissed me off more than I'd like to admit. I never got physical, but I've said mean things to 15-year-olds before, like very mean things.
Give us a couple. What'd you say?
One time, this kid was. This is how the conversation.
Just give us the line. We don't want to hear the. Let the people determine whether if it's.
I told a kid.
What'd you tell him?
I told a kid I fucking hate you. He was like 16 probably.
Yo.
I said, dude, I fucking hate you, dude.
Honestly, how old were you?
This was like 6 years ago. I don't know. I was probably like 28.
So the fact that 28-year-old you let
this is how
let some 13-year-old own landscape in your cranium.
First off, 16.
Whatever. But they're the worst. They're the worst though because I actually have a cousin he was a 13-year-old girl and 13-year-old girls like the way they gossip. So I'm at my uncle's house and he has this long table and we're all sitting there. And before I was trying to be like the cool cousin, yeah. So I got everybody lunch. We're all back there eating lunch and it's real quiet because like what am I gonna have in common with 13-year-old girls, right? We're at the table and this is like suburbia in Boston, so they've lived a pretty privileged life. Okay. And, I try to break the silence. I'm like, what are you guys, going to be up to today? And they're like, we're just going to be hanging out. What are you going to be up to? And I kid you not, before I could get out, like, what I was about to say, they're like,
oh, they made fun of you?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like for the first time in my life, like, I've never, like, I wanted to like hide in my own shell of being around like 13-year-old girls. I'm like, all right, I need to get out of here.
You felt like middle school.
Yeah, they're like
George,
making fun of me. They're laughing at me. I'm eating. They're laughing at me. I'm drinking. They think that I'm drinking too loud.
Dude. That is every day as a teacher. That is every single day. Literally, there's times where like a kid would walk in late. I'd be like, hey, what's going on? Is there a reason why you're late? Suck my dick. I'd be like, okay, well, you're a 15-year-old girl. So number one, impossible. Number two, like not appropriate. That was like a regular occurrence. And I used to send emails home like, dear Mrs. S, today and I would like describe the exact wording. Yeah, it was never good.
That's rough.
March Madness coming up. I want to give you a list of the top 10 teams. I want you to give me...
Iowa State's in that top 10. I know that.
Yeah, they sure are. You got Houston, Purdue, UConn, Tennessee, Marquette, Arizona, Kansas, Iowa State, North Carolina, Duke. Is there a team out of that top 10? Obviously, you're going to be biased and say Iowa State, so let's take Iowa State out of it. Is there a team that you like, you really favor winning the national championship?
Obviously I've gotten to see a lot more of Houston. Yeah. I like Houston. They seem like they have like some tough guys, that can really compete. Duke is always tough, going to be in there. And then you can't ever underestimate, a past champion in UConn. So I'm going to leave the other slot out in the Final Four for.
And you also never know, like, how people are like, who's your Final Four? It's like, I can't pick a Final Four if, like, two of my Final Four end up being in the same bracket. So it's like, it's kind of like, it's stupid to try to name a Final Four. I agree with you, though. I think UConn, like, while they did have a bad loss, I've seen a lot of their games. I'm like, first off, I don't think there's a better coach team. I think Dan Hurley is, like, a really, really good coach.
What do you like about him? Because he yells a lot and that makes you feel like...
No, he's intense for sure. But I think, like... He when he first started out, I thought he was just intense. I thought he was just an intense guy. And then, like, watching some of his, I can't believe the guy might have 120 sets that their team runs that are, like, good college sets. And you're like, how my thought is, like, how can you even teach that? Like, again, I was a Division III basketball coach, okay?
Yeah.
So I know a lot about coaching and sport of basketball. I think about my Division III team, and I'm like, dude, we had, like, 6 sets, and, like, half the kids didn't even know, like, 3 of them. We, like, probably ran the same 4 sets the entire game.
Yeah, UConn's probably given out $2 million in NIL, so those kids better know.
Yeah, and Dan Hurley just signed like another contract. I think he's making $7 million a year, which is great. He deserves it. He brought that team back from prominence, but they've got scorers all around. Cam Spencer, who was like a Rutgers transfer, is one of their leading scorers. Donovan Klingen's a beast on the inside. I just think they have the most complete
Alex
team. Caraban's a stud.
He's good. We tried to get him at Iowa State. Alex, if you're watching this.
Should have gone there.
You didn't even return my phone call after but it's all right. We'll get over it.
Is that true? Did you?
No, I'm kidding. I think I like try and text him or call him
and just
trying to get him to come to Iowa State. But hey, it's working out for him. I'm sure I'll see him up in the NBA at some point.
Yeah, so I would think UConn is probably a favorite. But again, the beauty of March Madness is that it's single elimination. You have conference tournaments that are single elimination. And then it's like anything can really happen. So who the fuck knows?
Yeah, no, that's why it's March Madness.
That's why they call it March Madness. Okay, I'd like to get to one of our final things, which is what I like to call the news story of the week. This is, in all seriousness, this is a pretty sad story. But I just want to get your take on it. Bloomin' Brands, if you're wondering, it's not Blooming Brands, it's Bloomin' with an apostrophe Brands, revealed in an earnings call Friday that they're not doing so good, and there are going to be 41 Outback Steakhouse closures happening in the next week or so. Not only Outback, but Carrabba's and Bonefish Grill. And I wanted to get your take. Number one, is this the end of American casual dining as we know it? And number two, what's your favorite casual dining spot and why?
Oh,
so let's start with your favorite casual dining spot.
You aggravate me. You really do. You honestly like.
Were you worried for a second that I was going to be something sad?
I didn't know where this is coming from, but I was a big Carrabba's guy back in the day.
You were?
Yeah, Outback was cool.
Did you have a dish at Carrabba's that you loved?
It was probably some pasta. Don't you see? I weigh like 240 pounds.
No, dude, you're probably 230.
So what?
230.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I thought you said 280.
No.
But yeah, I could honestly care less about that.
Dude, do you know that the American casual dining scene is like a staple of our culture? We all grew up going to these casual dining
TGI
spots.
Fridays is a
Best?
good. Yeah, it's still good.
What's your go-to order at TGI Fridays? Everyone has one. Also,
Like the quesadillas. I don't know.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
We used to
The
go
margaritas.
the margaritas. Yeah. We used to go to Applebee's at
Ooh,
right when I
the
turned
2 for
21.
$20.
Tough, and then also had half off appetizers.
Yeah.
So we would go.
Oh yeah, at 5 o'clock.
Yep, we would get half off appetizers, and you just got really excited about the. I knew
Well, it
I'd
brings
get you.
back my college memories of when we went back there, back when college players weren't getting paid and you were struggling to, make ends meet. I know people want to make like a big deal about this, but
Yeah.
you know,
Don't you look back on those days with fondness, though? Aren't you glad?
it was the best times of my life.
Yeah.
You know, whether if it was me and the 4 other freshmen that I came in chasing like our local like tram around to try and catch the bus to make it to class on time, or taking a bus to the arena to then play on ESPN. That one was pretty funny.
I always think, like, again, this is a sidetrack from the important news of Outback's closing down.
No, that was those stupid.
I don't think it's stupid. I think it's very important. Something that it was on CNN, actually, which means it's serious news. I think one of the craziest things is, and it's an argument for why players should be paid. You guys were playing on national TV in front of hundreds of thousands of people on a nightly basis almost. And then you were like going home with and you were like on a meal plan. That's like crazy to me. You went home to your dorms.
Yeah.
Like, what a wild
Turn of events.
turn of events that happens
Yeah.
immediately on a nightly basis.
Hey, you're on primetime television, but you're going to stay in a shoebox here on campus.
Yes.
Yeah, that one is mind-boggling.
But as a just a regular peon, a non-athlete in college, looking at the football players and being like, you guys have unlimited meal plans. Like, what the fuck are you complaining about?
What do you mean?
Like, so you like there was 2 types of meal plans.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen to you. What the F are you guys complaining about? You're my entertainment, and you get to eat for free.
Dance for me, clowns.
yeah.
No, I'm just saying from my perspective, I was like, you guys got it good. Obviously, I was like a 18-year-old kid that didn't know any better. I'm kind of critiquing my thought. But yeah, like looking at it now as an adult, like I could totally see why, especially when the coach that is coaching you is making $10 million. Yeah, you guys probably deserve some money.
No, 100%. I mean, I think the NCAA has done a good job of kind of allowing guys to go out there and get their own money. And guys are going to make their own decision. If you're going to go to a place just because of how much money they're offering you and not have the better opportunity of going somewhere for less money, then that's totally on you. And at least you'll get some money out of it. Hopefully it works out for the best, because college sports is like the last pure point of where it's not a job. It's all about, the opportunity, the experience, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, even with women's sports.
I was having a good conversation with a dad whose son is a senior in high school and is kind of teetering on whether he wants to play college, actually baseball. His son's a basketball and baseball player. And he kind of had this thought of like, well, he's not going to go to the pros. And it's like, yeah, but that's kind of missing the point, because what you can get is 4 years of some of the best times like in your life. One of my biggest regrets, not that I necessarily would have been good enough, but I wish out of high school I took like a Division III route serious and like put work into doing that. Cause I did have the like, I'm never going to play Division I sports, so I'm just going to be done after high school. And like, I regret that,
Yeah. I mean, from what aspect you mean? Like,
I think I would have had a lot better college experience if I played 4 years of like a low level Division III basketball. I think I would have really enjoyed that.
really?
Yeah.
I always have a hard time thinking about it because, it demands so much, and that when it's over, it's over. So you actually, Division III, I feel like you actually find people that actually love it. Because at the end of the day, it's like, I'm practicing, I'm doing conditioning, and guess what? I'm still gonna have to go find a job out here. Whereas like Division I, it's like you can go coach somewhere, you can, play professionally. There's like an income that comes about it. Whereas Division III, it's like, this is gonna come to an end, and I gotta figure out what I'm doing after that. So I might as well, my first 2 years, enjoy it, and then try and figure it out after that.
Yeah, which is why you see a lot of people that go out of high school playing Division III sports. Very few of them play 4 years.
Yeah.
And like the guys that do, it's
they're like wait,
I
could drink and not have to wake up for practice and still go to school.
Yeah, but they also like imagine being a coach of like having to fight against these kids that are like hungover. They're like, do you think I really give a fuck about like this? I'm gonna show up.
And that's when the coach is like, I fucking hate you. Now it's all adding up.
I never said that to a college student. If I said that to one of my college players, I coached a 28-year-old when I was 31. At Division III.
Kevin, it honestly sounds like you've had some wacky experiences. I can't wait to continue this journey with you to hear a little bit more of it.
Well, we hope you all continue this journey with us. This has been the first episode. What a joy.
Yeah.
Black Valve Media, what an incredible studio they have.
Yeah, this is a great compound here.
And this has been great. Tune in weekly. We're going to be having these podcasts weekly. There's probably going to be some weeks here and there where we don't get a podcast out.
We're going to get one out weekly.
But we'll let you know what day this is coming out. But look out. Follow us on socials at The Bench Seat. YouTube at The Bench Seat _. And thanks so much for tuning in. This was a good time. Good luck next couple of games doing whatever the fuck it is you do.